My name is Tom Pagani. I've been involved in coaching track and field for over 37 years and have retired from Fresno State University, where I've worked for the last 17 years. I've had the good fortune to be involved with collegiate programs from Columbia University to Cornell, the University of Illinois, Indiana University, Stanford University, and then finally Fresno State. The uniform I'm wearing today came to me because I was a member of the 1988 Olympic staff which competed in Seoul, Korea. I've had, again, the experience of coaching track and field on the collegiate level, high school level, and internationally. And hopefully what I say to you today will be of some benefit and will help you to learn the different throwing events and to help you to get the points across that you need to as far as learning those events. What we're going to be talking about today is the shot put. Using both the glide and the spin techniques, we'll go through a progression of learning where the thrower can visualize, the coach can see the different positions that a thrower should try to achieve in reaching optimal positions. The glide will be somewhat different from the spin and yet in many ways similar. In addition to the technique that we're talking about for those two events, we'll be describing some drills that will be helpful both in correcting errors that are very common as well as learning the different positions that every thrower needs in order to be successful. The first thing we'd like to talk about is where the shot is held in the athlete's hand. Now Ryan here is going to demonstrate the spin technique in the shot, and to begin with we'll just give you an idea where the ball should be. Now he'll hold it in his hand, and if you look closely at the shot you'll see that it rests primarily on the fingers of his hand, just barely touching his palm. What you'd like to have at the end of the throw is a big finger and wrist snap, so the positioning of the ball in his hands is very important. What I'm going to have Ryan do now is go through the different positions that a shot putter gets into when they put the shot, and rather than starting at the beginning of the throw, we're going to start at the very end, because it's critical that the thrower knows what they should feel like and where they should be at the end of the throw. The goal of the thrower is to reach the best possible position, and the only way to know that is by going through it. So what I'm going to have Ryan do is line both feet up so that they both point straight ahead. His hips will be pointing straight ahead and his shoulders will be aligned with his hips. This is the very final position that the thrower gets into. What I'm going to ask him to do is rock back slightly on his right foot, shift onto his left, and then put the ball. Okay, Ryan. Rock back and go. Okay. It's important to realize that when a shot putter releases the shot, it is over the top of the toe board. So to reach out any further and to pike at the waist will only result in a very weak throwing position. This is the second position that the thrower gets into. This occurs just before the release of the shot. There'll be a twist of the body. The shoulders will be turned back, but the hips will have already turned to the front. So in the progression, this is the second progression back from the very end of the throw. So his feet will be pointed forward, still pointed forward. He'll turn his upper body so that the shot is now a little bit further back in the ring and he can get a little bit of torque involved. But notice that the hips are still forward, the feet are forward, and this is where you want to be just before the end of the throw. Okay. Okay, this is the third position, and I call it a pivot drill. Many coaches give it different names, but what we try to do is have the thrower turn and get into position so that he's ready to go through positions 2 and positions 1 finally, but this has movement involved. So he'll start with his right foot in the middle of the circle, he'll bring his left foot to the toe board, all the while continuing to turn his right foot, and then finally hoping to get through positions 2 and 1 as well as he possibly can. This is called a pivot drill, or position 3. He stopped that time so that you could see that he remained in a closed position, that is with the shot in the back half of the circle, his shoulders and hips facing toward the back. Good. 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 We're going to move further back in the ring and start outside the circle. This is the next position that we're looking for. This is position 4, and it's been referred to as the South African. Ryan will start with his left foot in the circle, his right foot outside, and what he'll attempt to do is get to the next position, position 3, which was a pivot, but he will be moving from 4 to 3. And the goal again is to make each position that follows as perfect as possible. With his left foot inside the ring, his right foot outside, he will try to get to the pivot position, right foot always turning once it hits the center, and finishing the throw. Okay, what we're going to have Ryan do now is take a complete throw, but before he does that, we'll have him walk through the different positions and have you look at the different things that he's trying to accomplish as he reaches these positions. His normal start position will be with bent legs and trunk. So he'll squat down, sit just a bit. He'll turn slightly to the right. As he does that, his left heel will come up so that allows his hips to turn. His right foot stays planted solidly on the circle, and as he moves to the left to load up his left leg, his left shoulder and knee will move outside his foot. He'll then attempt to get to the South African position that he was in a moment ago, get to the pivot drill position, get to the final throwing position, and release the shot. What we're going to have Ryan do now is to show some alternative starts. Not every thrower in the beginning is able to go through all the positions that you just saw Ryan work with. So one of the alternative starts is starting in the ring, but basically throwing from a South African position. Both feet are inside the circle, and he'll go through a regular turn, finish the throw off. And if you have a beginning thrower who's not accustomed to starting all the way back, this may be an alternative for you to try. Another alternative start for some throwers is to begin with the body weight already loaded up on the left leg. For many throwers, the hardest part of the throw is the initial part, moving from the right leg to the left leg and taking the time to get into position to turn. So one way to avoid this is to eliminate the first part of the throw. And what I'll have Ryan do now is start with his weight loaded up on his left leg and then continue the throw from that point. What we'll have Ryan do now is a couple of drills that will help the thrower learn how to get into certain positions. The first one is called a 360-degree drill, and what Ryan's going to try to do is spin completely around his left foot and return to the starting position. Now, the only way that a thrower can do this and do it well is to load up his left leg, to put his shoulder and his knee outside his left foot. If he does not do that, he will fall short and come down in the center of the ring, or will fall off to the right or to the left. If Ryan does it well, and I know he will, he'll come back to his original starting position. So look for a long left arm, look for a shoulder and a knee which go outside his foot, and a return to the starting position. Okay, this is another drill that helps the thrower learn to get into the proper starting position. And my experience has been that the use of words is sometimes not enough. So I've started using different things to help to illustrate the point. In this case, I'll use a towel, and what I'll have Ryan do is assume the position where he knows he's in perfect balance, hold the towel at that point, and then ask him to turn so that he touches the towel. And in that way, he'll know where his balance point is. He'll be able to feel what it's like, and he'll know where it is. Without the use of the towel, all we're doing is using words, and if the thrower is not able to reach that place, he or she won't know that they've made a mistake. So I'll just hold this towel at a point outside the ring and ask Ryan to try to touch it as he starts into the turn. What Ryan's trying to accomplish in this drill is, after he's reached a point which is approximately the South African position, his right leg is out wide, and what he's trying to do is get his right foot into the middle of the circle. Now again, this is something that's hard to feel, but what I've done is put a towel, as you can see, in the circle at about the 9 o'clock position. And what Ryan's going to try to do as his leg comes from outside in is knock that towel down. The reason I've used a towel rather than a cone or a ball is that I'm concerned somewhat about him stepping on the ball or the cone. A towel will just get knocked down and he'll get the same feeling. And it's important for him to have an awareness of feel, because again, words often come up short in trying to describe different techniques and positions. So what he's going to try to do is get into his throwing position and knock the towel over as hard as he can while driving his leg to the center. We're going to be talking about the glide method of putting the shot now, and it's important to realize that the way the shot is held is very similar to the way it is when someone does the spin. And if you look at Shalomi's hand at this point, you'll see that the ball is resting mostly on his fingers, primarily on his fingers. It barely touches the palm of his hand. The thumb is more of a balance point, with most of the throwing being done by the 3 middle fingers of the hand, the index finger and the 2 next to it. Again, we're going to go from the end of the throw to the beginning of the throw. It's important for the thrower to realize where they should be at the very end of the throw. If they fall off balance, they will know it because they have practiced this position over and over and over again. What I'm going to ask the thrower to do is to line up with both feet pointing straight ahead in the throw direction, hips pointing straight ahead, shoulders pointing straight ahead. This is the strongest possible position you can be in. Everything in alignment, legs, hips, shoulders, all in alignment. Anything other than that, if the thrower falls right or left or bends one way or the other, they're going to be in a weaker position. And they will know that because they've practiced this position over and over again. Shalomi will line up both feet forward, hips, shoulders forward, rock back onto his right leg, shift onto his left, and put the shot. Both feet will be lined up so the toes are pointing forward, hips are forward, shoulders are forward, a rock back on the right leg to the left leg, and a push. Okay, the next position you'll see is position 2, and remember we're going backwards from the end of the throw to the beginning. Just before the thrower reaches the position Shalomi just threw from, his body will be twisted, turned to the right for a right-handed thrower. At this point, his feet, both feet are still straight ahead, but his upper body will be turned to the right, so he'll have a torque or a twist between his upper body and his lower body. Both feet still pointed straight ahead, a twist, a movement forward, and a throw. Good. We're going to go to position 3, and again, remember we're working backwards. So just prior to this, Shalomi's feet were pointing in the throw direction. Now what I'm going to ask him to do is turn his right foot toward the camera, or about a 90-degree angle to the throw, turn his upper body back as far as he can, and then exaggerate a long left arm. So he will swing his left arm extended in the direction that he wants the shot to go. So what he's trying to do is put his chest on stretch, separate the bottom part of his body from the upper part. Keep in mind, you always want your hips to lead your shoulders, but you also want your chest on stretch, and the best way to do that is with a long left arm. The other reason a long left arm is important is that it slows shoulder rotation down compared to your hips. We want your shoulders to move slowly at this point in the throw. At the very end of the throw, he'll pull his left arm in and speed up his shoulders. So there is a mirror effect of his arms. At this point, his left arm will be long, his right arm will be short or flexed. At the very end of the throw, he'll pull his left arm in and shorten it. His right arm will extend. So it's a long left arm, short right arm. At the end of the throw, short left arm, long right arm. Good. Okay. As Shalomi does this, what he's also trying to do is keep his hand behind the ball, keep his elbow behind the ball, and to push through a straight line. It's important that he not lift his elbow up too high, his right elbow up too high or under the ball. He wants to push straight through it. Shalomi is also going to try to finish as tall as he possibly can. The higher he can release the ball, the better. Okay, we call this position 4, and what this is an attempt to get into the third, second, and first positions with some movement. Shalomi will start at the back of the circle, but standing on his left foot rather than his right, as he would in a competitive throw. As he stands on his left, he will step into the center of the ring onto his right while turning it to point toward the camera. Step with his left toward the toe board, and then finish the throw. So it's start on the left, step right, step left, throw. Good. Good. Okay, he's going to repeat the drill, and of course as he does this, what he's trying to do is get in the best throwing position. As he steps through, he'll try to stay closed, that is, keep his shoulders down, parallel to the ground, and facing toward the back of the circle when he hits his throwing position. Okay, this is the 5th position. This is starting out of the back of the ring, and I call it a letter A position. It probably looks more like a V upside down, but what I'll ask Shalomi to do is to start in his normal beginning position, extend both legs toward the front of the toe board, and stop so that you as the coach can visualize what this particular position looks like. His right leg will be extended, his left leg will be extended. That's the way you get across the ring. He'll stop at that point, pull his right leg underneath, and then finish the throw. Good. It's important to point out that in a regular competitive throw there would be no pause at all, obviously, but both legs would extend. When the left leg extends, you try to keep your foot as close to the surface of the circle as you can so that you can put it down as quickly as you can. The goal is to get your left foot down on the circle very quickly. So while there would be no pause in a regular competitive throw, it is important to realize that both legs do extend, and then the right leg is pulled underneath. Good. This is position 6. This is the actual competitive throw itself. And what Shalomi will do is start at the back of the ring, put the shot up against his neck, bend at the waist, lift his left leg. Once he is in a position to begin with his shoulders down close to the ground, he will bring his left knee in to touch his right, kick that leg out, much as you saw in the position just prior to this, position 5, and finish the throw off. From the camera angle that we're looking at right now, you're looking for 4 points. So as a coach, your goal is to try to get 4 points in mind, and those 4 points are right shoulder, left shoulder. Are they parallel to the ground, or is the left shoulder up and causing the thrower to be off balance? The second of those 4, the second 2 points of the 4 is the left knee alongside the right as he starts across the ring. If there is a spread or a wide distance between those 2 knees, the chances are pretty good that the thrower will drive that left foot into the bucket. So you're looking at 4 points: right shoulder, left shoulder, parallel to the ground, left knee, right knee, close together. Just as with every other throw, there are alternative ways to begin the shot put glide. One is, rather than lifting the left leg and coming into a balance point, standing only on the right leg, is to keep the left foot in contact with the circle as well. The left foot and the right foot are both in contact with the ring. The thrower bends at the waist, gets into the position that they are comfortable with. When they are ready, they extend the left leg, push off the right, go across the ring, and throw. Good. This particular starting position was popularized by the world record holder using the glide, Ulf Timmermann, from what used to be East Germany, now obviously Germany. But what the thrower does in this alternative start is to assume a position at the back of the ring, lift the left leg, bend at the waist, get the left hand close to the surface of the ground. Once they've reached that point, the back and the leg will rise slightly, they'll drop back down slightly, then go across the ring. So it's a lift the left leg, bring it in, raise, drop, cross the ring, and throw. It's important to realize that when you do this particular starting position, that the left hand comes very close to the ground. Now, some throwers do not have sufficient back and leg strength to get down that far and come out of it comfortably. So it's a matter of trial and error. There's always a period of time where you can do certain things, and then a period of time when you cannot. You just have to work your way through it. This is a very effective position in that there is movement. By raising and lowering, there is a stretch put on the muscles of the legs and the hip. That stretch reflex takes into effect the movement across the ring, makes it a little faster, makes it a little bit stronger. But again, remember that getting down low is a function of strength. If the thrower cannot get down low and handle that position, they need to start up a little bit higher. What we're going to do is a series of drills to help with common problems. The reason we do some of these things is to drive home the point that words are not always effective. I've had throwers that I would say to them, get your right foot under, get your right foot under, get your right foot under, and they never did do it. The minute I took a drill and made it something that they could feel or sense or were aware of, they were able to accomplish what we were talking about. In this particular drill, we're trying to get the right foot under the thrower after he has started out of the back and is moving to the middle of the ring. In this drill, we placed a towel folded in half about 4 inches or so behind his right heel as he started the throw. The goal of the thrower is to push and then pull his foot up so that he clears the towel and gets into a good throwing position in the center of the ring. It's merely an awareness drill, a sensory drill, a feeling drill. The towel is there for the thrower to have something to feel. That's the only reason it's there. So we'll give it a try, see how it goes. There are many common faults in putting the shot, and one of those faults that you see very often is the thrower who, quote, puts their foot in the bucket being the extreme left-hand side of the circle. Actually, some throwers will actually miss the toe board totally, won't even come close to the toe board. They'll put their foot so far left that they'll almost go outside of the circle. The further your left foot is to the left, the less you have to support you at the end of the throw. Your left leg is very, very important. A biomechanics drill I saw at one point indicated that the force in a downward direction from the left foot was in excess of 700 pounds. If that foot is drawn further to the left, there is no way you can generate that kind of force. The ideal is to have your left foot go just slightly to the left of center, far enough so that you can turn your hips around, but not so far that it will not support you at the end of the throw. This drill is designed to help the thrower who goes into the bucket, way to the left of the circle. And what we do is put a towel on the toe board at the very far left of the circle. As the thrower goes across, if they do go to the left, they'll feel the towel. They know they make the mistake. Hopefully the next time they throw, they'll be able to correct it. So we'll have Shalomi go across and see how it turns out. What we're going to do this time is have Shalomi intentionally make a mistake. When I described position 6 before, I talked about 4 points: shoulders, knees. The knees are to be together in the good throw. What I'm going to have Shalomi do this time is open his knees up, drive his left foot toward the bucket. If you're a high school coach, you have an athlete who looks like this. This is what you're looking for. Knees apart, left foot driving in the direction of the left side of the circle. This can also be caused by being off balance, being more weighted on the right-hand side than the left, not in balance at the beginning of the ring. Look this time for the knee position, the drive of the left leg. If he does this, he will go into the bucket. The correction is to keep knees close together, drive straight toward the center of the toe board, and you'll be fine. Okay. Good. This drill is called a moving standing drill, and it's used to help a young thrower in particular learn what it's like, without coming out of the back of the ring, to get into a power position and throw well. He starts with both feet pointing away from the throw direction, and he quickly turns his lower body so that he turns his feet into a power position without moving his upper body at all. So he will get into a really torqued or twisted position. Both feet will point away from the throw, quickly turn into a power position, and then the throw is finished without moving the upper body initially. Another common error for beginning throwers in particular, but even experienced throwers will go through this, is to fail to turn the right foot. If the right foot does not turn, then the right knee will not turn, the right hip will not turn. The goal of the thrower is to get into position 1, like we talked about a long time ago. Position 1 with both feet, knees pointing in the throw direction, hips pointing in the throw direction, shoulders pointing in the throw direction. That starts with the bottom half turning. If the right foot turns, it will continue on up the body. Now, one way to experience this and to feel it, again, because words often come up short, I've said to throwers, turn your right foot, and they will not do this, is to take something, an object of some sort. In this case, we'll use a ball. We'll put it behind the heel of the thrower, and we'll have him try to kick the ball or knock the ball aside with his right heel. And the only way he'll be able to accomplish this is by turning his foot. You'll see his knee turn, then his hip finally turn. So we'll put the ball in place and have him try it. Okay. Now this next drill is used to get the thrower to think about use of his left arm. What you're trying to do, what any thrower is trying to do, is extend their left arm, keep a long left arm, hand away from their body. And one way to do this is to take a small weighted ball, put it in the left hand, get into a power position. Remember first that you're still trying to kick that ball by your foot because you want your hips to lead. You kick the ball, move your heel out, then the very next move is for your left hand and arm to extend, hand to go up at about the angle that you would like the shot to travel through. Throw the weighted ball in your left hand and then push the shot. A word of caution, that weighted ball or whatever it is that's in your left hand can go pretty far and may go left. Be sure that the area is clear. You don't want to hit anyone. But it is one way to be sure that the left arm extends, that it goes through the proper path where you'd like the shot to go, and it's a great throw, or a great drill for kids who are learning the event. The thrower, when he or she throws the smaller weighted ball out of their left hand, has to realize that at the very end of that movement, the left arm shortens and comes in against the side. If the ball is released when the left arm is at its longest position, it should go toward the middle of the landing area or slightly left. If it goes extreme left, it probably means that the thrower kept that left arm long, too long. Remember again, it starts out long. As the thrower's chest points toward the front, it shortens and pulls in against the side. Good. In this picture we can see the thrower as he is about ready to begin his throw. He stands tall with the shot cradled against his neck and is just about to begin bending at the waist and bending his legs. The thrower bends at the waist until his back is parallel to the ground. He has also lifted his left leg so that it too is parallel to the ground. At this point, he closely resembles the letter T. His back and leg represent the top of the letter, his right leg, the vertical part of the letter. His left hand is very close to the surface of the circle, indicating how low he is, and his eyes, rather than looking straight down, are looking just forward of a position that is straight down. He's about ready to move into the next position. Now we see the thrower as he brings his left knee alongside his right. Those 2 points are very close together. The 2 points of his shoulders, his left shoulder, right shoulder, are approximately the same height off the ground, so they're parallel to the ground. And his left hand is very close to the circle. You can see that his fingers are actually curled so he does not touch the ring and foul. He looks very much like a coiled spring with his knees, hips, and back flexed, ready to move across the ring. Now you can see that both legs have extended. Just a moment ago, both were flexed. This enables the athlete to move across the ring. His body, if you look at it closely, the lower part of his body looked like an inverted letter V. The left foot is very close to the surface of the circle so that he can put it down quickly and get into a power position. The quicker his left foot comes down, the quicker he can initiate the throw. The shot itself is moving up and continues to move in an upward direction from this point on. Just an instant before this picture, neither foot was on the ground and no part of his body was weight-bearing. He's now trying to recover his right foot under his body, and if you remember, both legs were extended just a moment ago. He's trying now to get his right leg flexed underneath his body. If you can look at the inclination of his lower right leg, you can see that his foot has traveled further in the circle than has his knee. If the lower part of that leg represented the hands of a clock, you'd see that his foot was at 5 o'clock, his knee was at 11. This is what you'd like to have. No stopping, no pausing, a continuous motion. If you can draw a line from his left shoulder, through his hip, through his left knee, through his ankle, you'll see that it's a straight line, and he is just about to get into what is called the power position. Now that his left foot is down, he has attained the power position. This is when the real work of the shot put begins. Both feet are down, his right foot is beginning to turn, his right knee is beginning to turn, and his left arm is starting to extend away from his body. His left arm will lead the path of the shot, and he'll come around so that he finally reaches the position where shoulders and hips are forward. The goal now is to turn the right foot, right knee, and hips before the shot, and to put the chest on stretch by extending the left arm. At this point, the right leg has contributed all it can. It is now extended, and his right foot is sliding across the ring. Now the work of the shot begins with the left leg and upper body. The right side, however, is still turning, and if you look closely, you will see that the side of his shoe is now visible, whereas a moment ago it was not. That tells us that his foot is turning, his knee is turning, and his hips are about ready to face the front of the circle or the toe board. Again, if you look closely, you'll see that his hips are further forward than his shoulders, so there is a torque or a tension or a twisting motion that is taking place, but his hips lead his shoulders at this point. His arm strike has just begun, and his left arm and elbow have pulled away from his body, again creating a tension across his chest, much like he would be if he were in a bench press position. There is a stretch across his chest, and his arm strike is just about to begin. At this point, we can see that the shot is just about to come off the thrower's hand. The ball itself is just over the toe board or slightly in front of it. Both legs have extended. Every part of his body is as tall as it can be. All the joints are extended. A moment later, his right arm will extend. The shot will be gone at that point. It's been my experience that the better a thrower can jump, the further he will be able to throw. And you'll notice that the end of the throw is very much like a jump in that his legs are fully extended. His hips have come to the front, his hips and shoulders have lined up, and he is in a squared position. This is the most powerful position you can be in. What we see at this point is the final part of the throw, the reverse or the switching of the feet. We can see that the thrower has made a complete turn. We now look at his back. A moment ago we were looking at the side of his body. He has extended his legs and jumped into the throw so hard that his body has turned, and we're now looking at his back. This is the very final part of the throw, and this is what he uses in order to stay into the circle. A quick switching of his feet and a violent extension of his legs and his feet against the toe board. When looking at the throw in its entirety, what a coach should look for is continuous movement, a turn at the middle of the circle, and an acceleration at the end of the throw. Now we see the thrower as he is about to begin in the spin or turn technique of the shot. His legs are bent, his trunk is inclined forward, and his left arm is extended in front of his body. His right foot is planted firmly on the circle, his left heel is up, and his body weight is primarily on the right side or the right foot. He's about ready to move toward the camera, toward the left. At this point in the turn, we can see that the thrower has loaded up his left leg, that is, placed his full body weight on top of it. His right foot is about to come off the circle. In achieving this position, his left arm has moved parallel to the ground and has moved alongside of or on top of his left thigh. Both his arm and his thigh are turning at about the same rate. We can see that his left foot is starting to turn. We can now see the side of his shoe, and his foot is starting to point toward the middle of the ring. This is the point at which he will now begin to get in position to move across the circle. Now we can see the thrower as he is ready to move toward the center. His leg is bent, his left leg is bent. He looks like he's sprinting as he goes across the ring. The shot is up against his neck and his left arm is extended. In this position, we see the thrower as his left foot is about to come off the circle and just before his right foot makes contact. This particular thrower has his right foot in front of his right knee. Other throwers will keep their right foot under their knee. The important thing is to make sure that once that foot makes contact, his right foot makes contact, there is no pause or slowdown, that whatever he does, he is able to keep moving, to accelerate, to not slow down. The left arm or hand at this point is slowing or will stop just after this and then begin to accelerate after his right foot comes down. Now the thrower's right foot has made contact with the circle. It points to about 1 o'clock on the circle if the circle is used as the face of a clock. It is important to note that his left foot is alongside his right foot. It only has just a short distance now before it comes down. If it were still at the back of the ring, it would have a much greater distance and therefore a longer time before it can come down and allow the thrower to be in his power position. Looking at his body, we can see that it is inclined toward the back of the ring. That is, that his feet and legs are closer to the front of the circle than is his shoulders and the shot itself. At this point, his left hand has slowed or stopped, and when his left foot comes down, it will move out away from his body and accelerate in an upward direction. It's important after this point to be sure that the right foot continues to turn so that the knee and the hips can move around in front of the shoulders. Now the thrower's left foot is down on the circle and he is in the power position. It's worthwhile noting that in the spin technique, the feet are much closer together than in the glide technique. In the glide, it is not at all unusual to have the feet 36 to 40 inches apart. In the spin, 18 to 20 inches is far more common. The bottom of his body will continue to turn, and he will try very hard to keep that right foot turning, the right knee turning, and the hip turning so that it leads his shoulders. You can see that his left arm is extended and will very soon begin moving in an upward direction in the same path as he would like to put the shot. Now we can see the thrower as the shot is just about to leave his hand. Using the stripes on his uniform, we can see that he has turned fully around. The picture before this showed the stripes on the left side of his uniform. Now we can see the stripes on the right side of his uniform. This tells us that his body has turned completely and that his hips and shoulders are now facing the throw direction. Just a moment after this, the shot will leave his hand. If we look closely at his legs, we can see that both are extended fully, indicating that he has no more to get out of his legs. They have extended, they have contributed as much as they possibly can. Both feet are off the ground, which means that he can no longer get any power from his legs. The final part of the put is about to take place. His arm will extend, but the shot will have left his hand at that point. The reverse, or the switching of the feet, is merely a continuation of the action of the previous part of the throw. The thrower will continue around and stay in the circle by switching his feet. When the coach looks at a complete throw, what he looks for is good balance, acceleration, and speed of movement. It's very important to realize that the faster the shot is moving at the end of the throw, the further it's going to go. So balance and speed and acceleration are keys. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. What I've attempted to demonstrate should be informative to both the new and experienced coach and should either challenge or reinforce what they already believe. In teaching athletes to perform a desired action, I have often found the use of words or phrases are simply inadequate. Hearing and performing are two separate activities. Because of this experience, the drills I have used here are designed to create a picture in the mind of the athlete or to make him or her aware of body or implement positions through the use of a variety of tools. Hopefully they will work for you and for your athletes. Best of luck in your efforts to help young people achieve their goals.